What you are about to watch is an introduction that I gave about the Promise 3 project to a brand new colleague of mine. It has been edited so that it doesn't include some of the very basic information about the history of Bonahus and the actors involved, and also to take out the general chit-chat amongst colleagues. I hope that you find this useful.
Starting again with the project partners, we have quite many. We have 12. First one is us, of course. Child Circle is the organization that Olivia co-founded. And when we talk about Rebecca is the one who works at Child Circle now, the other co-founder, and she's a lawyer, and so she's doing legal things in the project. Bonigi is our software guys, and we'll get more into what they're doing later. Allmänna Barnahuset, that's Bengt, who you met yesterday, and they are delivering one of the therapy trainings. Avbit, we talk about Per Stil, that's the guy there.
Okay.
He makes what we've been talking about as the avatar.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a software where we'll talk more about it later, but it's where you can practice speaking with children. Terres Oms, the child safeguarding people in the project, and they're also running the child participation parts of the project.
Okay.
Along with our Bulgarian member here. So Bulgaria is our, so the rest of the list is what we would call national partners. We have like a core set of partners up at the top who are like providing services to the national partners, essentially, and services to the project as well. So Bulgaria is also known as SAPI. Petia, we talk about Petia quite a lot. It's the name there. Cyprus, HFC, Hope for Children, CRC Policy Center. And then we have THL, Finland. There's a few names. Taina is the one that we've been working a lot with, but they have assigned a new leader there. Her name is Hannah, and I haven't met her personally yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Tuzla, you met today, Ireland, Child and Family Agency. Poland, Nobody's Children Foundation is what it used to be called, and now it's called Empowering Children Foundation. And Beata is our main contact there.
Okay.
And then we have the Ministry of Justice of Slovenia. And there the name is Andre.
Okay, Andre.
And with all of these, there will be more names that we start talking about, but these are the ones that we've mentioned. I think we've talked about all of these people.
Yeah, I can recognize some of them, yeah, for sure. So at least I know now a bit like where they are from and which organization, and
exactly.
That's good, yeah.
We have work packages. Like normal, the first one is about project management and coordination, and then it's broken up in so that forensic interview training has its own work package, therapy has its own work package, and we have a horizontal activity with communication and network and the software we're building and other things, and then that children's voices section about child participation actually within the project.
Okay. Yeah.
The child safeguarding mechanism is actually built into the project management work package, as you'll see, because it's streamlined into the project that way.
Okay.
So we have the project steering group meetings, which we said at least 2 or 3 times. It might end up being 3 times now, since we're definitely doing one of these meetings digitally. Child safeguarding, as I mentioned. And the training of the national training officers is also built into this because their skills are essential to the whole success of the project.
Okay. And Promise Hub is the case management. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So in terms of the way that the partners are broken down. So we've got those core partners that I mentioned, and then we've got the national partners, and then at those national partners, there's at least three, well, in the exception of Finland, at least three key staff members who are paid on the project. That's the national training coordinator, the national the national therapy training coordinator, the national forensic interview training coordinator, and then the project coordinator. So with Ireland today, for example, Aoife, she is the project coordinator for Ireland. So she's our main contact when it comes to documentation and coordination and all of these kinds of things.
Okay.
And then, so that's for you and me. And then the other two are for Linda, and that's the training coordinators. So their job is, it's quite broad in terms of they're kind of being trained up as train the trainers, but not in the full sense because they're actually going through the training at the same time as the other ones. So part of their role is to get an advanced preview of coursework so that they can play this supervisory role.
Okay, yeah.
So that they can support people going through the courses, they can support the consideration of national legislation, socioeconomical context, these kinds of things. They can support with language. It's important that these people are quite good with the English language so that they can negotiate these challenges that come up, maybe even do some translations on the fly if necessary. So they have a really important role in that sense. But then they also have another important role in recruiting the trainees, making sure that they're picking the right people who are coming to the trainings, and ensuring that whoever comes to the trainings, that they are supported to use these trainings in what we call MDIA, multidisciplinary interagency setting. So the TLDR on that is we don't want people who are coming to these trainings to then go and use it at a police station. We want them to use it at Barnahus. So they play a really key role in ensuring that and in helping us to make sure that this MDIA concept is built into all of our trainings so that it's not just a training on this is how you do forensic interviewing. It's also a training on, and this is how you do it in a multidisciplinary interagency setting. This is how you cooperate with the whole team. This is how you get buy-in from all of the different actors who need to have buy-in. So yeah, that's the TLDR there.
Okay.
Questions before I move on?
No, I think it's quite clear.
Yeah, so then we have the deliverables of the kickoff meeting, training, safeguarding. The promised vision, we've talked about this a little bit with meeting people. We have a document that we developed back in 2016 with the first in the first project, and it was a loose description of the principles and long-term goals that we see for Europe, and we revised it quite heavily in the beginning of Promise 2 and restructured it a little bit so that it's a bit easier for other people to read. The first one I think was quite good, but it was written for us.
Okay,
This next one was a bit more written for policymakers. And then the child safeguarding mechanism.
Yeah.
So then we get to the forensic interviews. So we have, with all of our trainings, we're planning to run one training this year, starting in the fall, going to spring, and then one more year of training, the same trainings again. our main trainers here come from the NCAC. This stands for National Child Advocacy Center. So the NCAC, they're the ones that we have that we are going to contract to actually deliver these trainings.
Okay.
And
So
when we talk about Linda and Per, Per is the avatar guy. Linda, American Linda, is the one who will actually deliver the training on the protocol. And there's other things around this as well, like a little bit of basic child abuse stuff and what can you expect in terms of developmental levels of children at different ages, kind of thing. So then the thing with Per and his avatar, you don't have to be in the same room, you don't have to be in the same country. And one adult is sitting behind the control and is controlling what looks like a child on the screen, sort of like a puppet with, pressing buttons and making it look like the child is speaking, and then, you're speaking, but it looks like the child is speaking. And the adult who is practicing a method is going through those motions, while the adult on the other side who's pretending to be the child, it has a case, has some details about what that case is, so that they can answer as if they were a child without having to make up details on the spot.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of. So the point here is that the person who is supposed to be learning how to give interviews on these kinds of topics has practice with it.
Yeah.
So it's quite cool that we're bringing it along with us as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we're aiming for about 60 people who are going to get trained in this in the end. And for the most part, the people who will be trained are the national partners. However, we do foresee that we will have some empty spots here and there, and we will put them out for, I don't know how we'll do it, but with our network members have a first shot at being able to come to our trainings. So we have the training year 1, training year 2, and then each country has a deliverable. So again, when it comes to collecting all the documents and uploading them into the portal, the way that we do it is anywhere where it says CBSS here, so like delivery 2.2, training for 2, CBSS, that's us who is responsible for collecting all of the documents there and uploading them. And then when it comes to the next line here with SAPI being in that third column, it's their responsibility to collect all of these documents and upload. So I will show you, I won't get to it today probably, but I will show you the templates that I've developed for this project to help them make sure that they've got everything in order, even at the organization level, like when they're actually organizing their national follow-up.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
So that it's all already there, and they can feel comfortable that when it comes time to actually do the upload, they don't have much to do. But so when it comes to national follow-up, there's some details in here about how they're supposed to do it, and if it's one-on-one or if they have a small group meeting, and or they're using the avatar to practice from a distance. Our child safeguarding partner, Tedis Ohms, they're going to do some webinars about how to safeguard children when going from training to actual interviews. Per, the avatar guy, is going to write a short white paper about the results and impact. And Rebecca, the lawyer, will write a training paper on procedural safeguards.
Okay.
And that's her only deliverable, but in terms of other, she has other roles as well in terms of being the person who is leading the discussions on national legal contexts and things like this,
Okay.
which will be an important part of this training paper on procedural safeguarding, actually. Therapy. You've got a lot of information on therapy these last 2 days.
Yes.
With Bengt and Karl-Göran and Linda, of course.
Yeah.
So if you want to read more about what these therapies actually are, this is the description of them here.
Yeah.
And here too, they have the same national follow-up kind of activities foreseen. So one thing about these courses is 2 of them is delivered by Ersta University. So,
yeah.
And then, so that's the basic training in child abuse and the TFT CBT. And then the other 2 courses is the CPC CBT. This is Bengt's, and everyone who is trained in CPC CBT is, I said it wrong, in Sweden goes through the training given by Allmänna Barnhuset. It's a course where actually they come to Sweden 4 times.
Oh, really?
For several days, and they go to one of these kursgårds to take the course. So it's something we're considering actually whether the rest of them should also be in a kursgård or if they should actually be at a university. So we're not sure. And then you know that this one's a little bit in the air, CFTSI.
Yeah.
Then we get to our horizontal activities, of which there are many. We have the European Competence Center. So initially, we thought that was going to be Linköping University. Now that they are no longer a partner, and Ersta did not replace them as a partner, we're actually contracting them.
Okay.
So it's not for sure yet that they will be a competence center, but they are very positive to taking on this role. And then we have Promise Hub, which is the software that I've talked about.
Yeah.
We have taken a software, a case management software that a number of Barnahus in Sweden are currently using, and we have transformed it a bit. And the transformation has been so that it becomes a tool for tracking performance and progress towards meeting the Barnahus quality standards. So that standard setting document that I mentioned yesterday, that Olivia is the author of, we did a process where we literally went like line for line and operationalized every single standard of in what way can we show that these standards are being met. And when we were doing this process, we were introduced to Bonigi, who was the software developers for and so we had a few meetings and we realized that, we're really on the same page here and this could be a good option, because what we originally were thinking is that we could do a series of surveys, but then the problem with surveys, of course, is you need to make time for them, and it can be based on perception rather than reality and all of these kinds of things. So we see this as being far better for a number of reasons. One, if you're using it to keep track of all of your case data, and if it's collecting the correct kind of case data, then you can actually use the measurements of this to show that you are giving forensic interviews without due delay, because you can see from the date that a case came in and the date to forensic interview. You can show that you are doing a needs assessment and acting on that needs assessment, because when you have kids that have a disability or are very young or have a different language, you're showing that the people who are relevant to that are part of the case planning meeting, are part of the forensic interview observation, etc. So, and then we've added some other features as well that are more on like the management side of data you would never otherwise collect because there is no system collecting this kind of thing, but it's super useful. So that's what this is, and we've gotten to a certain level, a level where Ireland is actually using it already now.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
It really is. Their ICT people said, but how can the EU have come up with this already? It takes years to build software like this.
Yeah, I'm really impressed, honestly.
We did it in 1 year.
What? Oh, I just wanted to ask you, for how long did it take? That's so impressive.
No,
Wow.
and Bonigi, they're amazing. So
Mm,
and it helps that they've been working. They've had this software. They started their business because they were making software for uh, social workers.
okay.
So then Barnahus became on. So they are making social software.
Yeah. So they're
Essentially.
already familiar within that field,
Exactly.
per se.
And with
Yeah.
like data safety and all
Mm,
these things. So
yeah.
the challenge is, of course, that there's different ideas of what software can and should do in different countries. So it's going to be interesting to see how this expands, especially since
So true.
Sweden in particular has restrictions on the kinds of data that you can keep and lists and stuff. So
Yeah.
uh,
GDPR.
yeah. So that's a hub, and I often just refer to it as hub when I
Okay.
can anyway.
Mm,
Then we're going to continue our communication activities like our newsletter, webinars. We don't really have that many webinars written into this project.
mhm.
However, we have agreed with Ted the one who was coordinating all of our webinars in the previous project, that we're just going to continue this relationship
Okay.
on a less formal basis rather than having to meet like 18 webinars in 2 years. That anytime a topic comes up that we realize, oh, this could be a webinar, then
Mm,
we come together and we make it happen.
that's
Because
good.
they're getting project money from somewhere else for this webinar platform that they have anyway. So it's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's briefly about that. Barnahus Forum, we are aiming to hopefully have a really big conference when we can have really big conferences again. That's
Yeah.
the first ever. We're aiming to do that. We're aiming to do it every 2 years to bring all Barnahus people together. And we want to really get away from the like plenaries and the clapping and then you go home and nothing changes. We want to actually make people do work. So, we're going to do the clapping, but then we're going to break up into working groups. And this working group is going to go tear through a few pages of standard 5, and you're going to rewrite this based on the feedback that we've gotten from children. And then this group over here, you're going to go do a mock interview in an interview room that we've set up with an observation room right next to it. And the kids are going to ask the adults embarrassing questions. And, it's going to be more like practical,
Yeah.
inspiring, energizing.
Sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have the Barnahus Network. So we're trying to shoehorn as many costs as we can from the network into this project.
Mm,
That's that.
great.
Yeah, just deliverables for that. And then really quickly, the last one here, children's voices.
Yeah.
So Terezons, in cooperation with SAPI, the Bulgarian one. Bulgaria already has like a
Okay.
focus group. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to use this focus group to produce child-friendly material and to look at the standards. We have in the very end of Promise 2, we made a prototype of a mascot. He's actually a plushie.
Oh, really?
But it doesn't have a name yet. So I want the kids to like give him a name and write him a story, and like maybe then he has a pocket on the back. So maybe when we do a larger run, then he'll actually have like a little introductory
Oh,
thing, and then there will be a place to draw on the other side. So you can like write your story and put it in the pocket.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So that's something else I want them to do. But and they will also come to the Barnahus Forum, and they'll have their own little side schedule, but also will be meaningfully and safely involved in the main event now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is, yeah, that's what this is. Children meeting with practitioners. So they're actually
Okay.
going to meet with people in Stockholm.
Yeah.
This is also a thing where we have other people who are not partners to the project who are interested in doing something similar. So we might be supporting, for example, Scotland to do similar things and have that feed into the project, even though they're not paid by the project, just to give them a framework for doing this kind of work. And I have to say, I am surprised at myself at getting through that in an hour.
I know, bravo.
Rather detailed as well, giving
Exactly.
the background information.
Thank you. That's so, like, now I at least know what everything is about and what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read into it a bit more when I get the time later. So thank you so much.